It is week 12 of Lakeshore Scoreboard. Tonight they hand out trophies and sectional championship action, and we'll take a look on how the region teams fared this evening. It's coming up next on Lakeshore PBS.
Doing as much as you can, as quickly as you can, is important to me. Life is short, and the earlier we get started helping our community, the better off our community will be.
All right, it is Lakeshore Scoreboard Week 12, Sectional Championship Week, and a lot of region teams looking to advance to a regional championship tonight, and definitely some surprises.
Yeah, quite a bit of surprises. Yeah. Some lopsided scores, some scores that were a little closer, but it's definitely a fun night of football for sure.
Yes, we're going to start in 6A, where we got lulled into thinking that Lake Central almost upset Lafayette Jeff last week. Probably should have upset Lafayette Jeff last week, and thought Crown Point was the favorite tonight.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Didn't quite turn out that way.
No, it didn't, and I think that Crown Point got behind, and Jeff just did not let them. It became close in the second half, but just Jeff had an answer each and every time.
He had a couple costly turnovers, too. I agree with you. It seemed, I still felt at halftime, I think it was a 14-7, that Crown Point was going to come out and dominate the second half. They showed some signs of that, but they had a couple of big plays that really continued to keep Jeff in the driver's seat. Let's check out some of the highlights tonight. 10-0, undefeated season. Duneland Conference Championship, but it's not going to taste that great tonight, even though they had such a great season at Crown Point.
Yeah, and a lot of Lafayette Jeff early. This is Brandon Jackson with a nice catch underneath, cutting it back, getting some good yard after catch there. This was the next play. It was Asa Keppen with the catch, cutting it back, and they were saying online and throughout our correspondence that the passing game, even though it was windy for Jeff, was very impressive. That's a nice defensive play there. That's Latrell Hannon there. Oh, and a nice broken up pass there by Michael Lillard. So you can see Lafayette Jeff playing really well early. Elijah Taiwan has been a stud this year, but he let the ball go there, and Lafayette Jeff recovered that, and there was quite a bit of momentum lost on that play there. It's a nice catch by Abram Ritchie.
Jeff is known to pass the ball
Yes,
quite
they
a
are.
bit.
So here's Taiwan again. Recovering from that fumble. He ended up getting 8 yards there on that play. But Lafayette retorted here with a Glenn Patterson touchdown run. A big run, long strides. Lafayette Jeff waving them on in celebration there. Here's another catch by Lafayette Jeff. This one's Abram Ritchie. Glenn Patterson off the left side. And, nice easy catch. They did that all game. This is nice easy catches out into the flat and ended up being a 10-point victory for Lafayette Jeff.
The big strip and score in the third quarter. I think Crown Point had cut it to 1. And then they came down and scored quickly again, and then went for 2 and tied it at 21. But then they're in 21, and you go into the fourth quarter, you're thinking Crown Point's going to still dominate this game in the end, but they couldn't
Yeah.
really stop defensively. You see, the Bulldogs, you go back to that Maryville game, they did have trouble with the pass. It's, with a few times that teams were effectively able to pass it against them this year.
They had trouble last week with Portage's pass. Portage led in the first half, and Crown Point got down and then came on gangbusters in the second half against the Lafayette Jeff team. That just couldn't happen or didn't happen.
It's hard, 10-1, great season, but I know those players and the coaching staff. That's not gonna. There's no moral victories.
No,
they thought they were gonna win a trophy tonight.
Not at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, they were undefeated, and they're beating some of the best teams in the northern half of the state. And for them to come up, and in my opinion, were upset this week with the way they have been so dominant. They were expecting a sectional championship win tonight, and it's disappointing for them. But what this can do is give them motivation for next season.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to hear about it all off season,
Yes.
and they'll be working to rectify that coming up next year. All right, let's check out New Prairie and Hobart. Thought the Brickies would give New Prairie a little bit better game tonight than Lowell did.
Yeah, we thought that, but a lot of Noah Mungia early, and that is a big hole off the right side. He takes it in for 6. But Hobart's no slouch. They've got a good running back to themselves with Trey Gibson there. A tough run. He got 4 or 5 yards there, but it was a lot of this young man as well, Marshall Kamisic. This is their quarterback. He had 2 touchdowns in the first half. 2 of their first 3 touchdowns were on long runs by Kamisic. And it's very difficult when you have both a running back and a running quarterback that can get the job done. You can see that New Prairie defense swarming around there. That's Jacob Morozinski. I should be able to say that name, being Kolodzinski, a little bit better. That's another Noah Mungia run there, and another Kamisic touchdown. But Trey Gibson did not quit. Cutting back on the right side there, taking it to the house for 6. He played his heart out this game, and that's what you need from your leadership in a game where it's not exactly close. You still lean on those leaders to be a good example, because Noah Mungia was pretty much unstoppable this game.
Well, we saw those first 2 runs; those were gaping holes, and then you have 3 running backs basically to defend.
Right. So here's Trey Gibson again, looking awfully tough. Bring it down to the 1-yard line. He ends up punching it in here for 6. He has been an excellent player for his entire time here in Northwest Indiana. So he's going to give it his all here. And here's Mungia again. And you're starting to see why the New Prairie Cougars scored 49 points in the first half, which is something you don't see too often from the Hobart team.
Noah Mungia does not need a big hole.
No, he does not.
And he had a few big holes there, and then broke some tackles, and then they basically just called off the dogs, I think, at halftime, and
they did
tried to run out the clock, basically.
They did this last week as well. They got up very big, got to the running clock essentially where it would be in the first half, and then essentially pulled the starters. I know they brought the starters back in after Hobart scored a couple late touchdowns to kind of make it somewhat close, but the bottom line was this game was pretty well in hand. And it's kind of disappointing for Hobart. They expected more coming throughout this year, but they also did have a very good year. This is not a slouch team, and this is not there is no shame in losing to New Prairie. Right. New Prairie is one of the best teams in 4A in the state of Indiana, and they're very well coached. But you know who else is a very well coached is Hobart as well.
Sure.
So they've got a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah, I think Hobart's not going to be happy with their defense tonight.
No.
And, thing about New Prairie is their big game is next week with Northwood again. Right. But they have had a very impressive last 2 weeks here in Northwest Indiana.
They have. They've run roughshod over Northwest Indiana.
Yeah.
Their only loss this year as a 4A school was to Penn, which is
Right.
a 6A school.
Right.
They're looking very good. And this rematch for them, for those of you who don't know, there was a rematch from the semi-state of last year where New Prairie had Northwood beaten and threw an interception in the last minute or so of the game that ended up pretty much deciding the game and leading to a score. So two evenly matched teams next week for New Prairie.
Very strange. You meet in the regional one year,
Right.
Or semi-state one year, and then the next year you meet in the regional.
Yeah.
That's a little weird. All right, let's move down to 3A. Big ball game in Cedar Lake. Hanover Central taking on West Lafayette. Hanover Central missing a couple of starters on both ways tonight, so basically they were without 4 starters tonight when you had to take that into account.
And it doesn't help both on offense and on defense. You had West Lafayette running the ball pretty good there early, and then there was Caden Brett with the catch there for Hanover. Now, Jaden Howard actually scores a touchdown here, and this game was very tight early. Well, you got this quarterback Max Mullis again, and he is tough. He can run, he can move, but the running game for West Lafayette was tough. That was Dawson Martin with a touchdown there. This is Henry Maurer with the catch. And
you can see why West
Lafayette
Lafayette is number 1 in the state.
Yes, they're very tough. They're getting it done through the air, on the ground. They're very tough too. And anytime you have some of these dynamic athletes, and Hanover's good, but that's definitely a tough game for them. So that was another great player here. Gannon Howes, beautiful touchdown catch for them there in traffic. But it just seemed like every time Hanover did something positive, there was an answer for West Lafayette. Here's Dawson Martin. He ends up scoring. They call that a touchdown there. We've got Jaden Howard there with a nice stop-start. Tony Bartolomeo with a catch underneath. He was actually playing quarterback for a big part of this year. That's Caden Verrett, nice catch. But the turnovers loomed large here, and Cooper Kitchell for West Lafayette recovered it. That led to Jack Montez getting a reception there, marching on down the field, setting up a field goal here by West Lafayette. And this game was close early, but West Lafayette just kept coming and kept pushing.
Yeah, with no Kyle Hazley tonight
Right.
For Hanover. This game was 23-17 in the third quarter.
Right.
So it was right. It was right there. Obviously, it looks like West Lafayette warmed down in the fourth quarter, but Hanover had kicked a field goal to make it 23-17. But I agree with what you guys were saying on the radio. It's time for their program to take that next step.
Right.
Yep.
And they're going to be going into a predominantly 4A conference.
Exactly.
Even though Andrean's 2A, but they're really a great 2A.
Absolutely.
So,
Hanover's been really great, and
Yes.
they've been steamrolling teams, and they've been playing only 2 quarters at a time because that's what the game has dictated. That.
Right.
Now they got to play 4 quarters, and what happened in this game? West Lafayette just wore them down, and by the end of it, that game was a lot closer than that final score indicated.
yes.
Yeah.
It just so happened that maybe there was some fatigue involved there because they really haven't had to play 4 quarters.
It'd been nice to see this group, for Hanover Central move into the Crossroads for next year because they are very talented.
Very talented. They're going to lose a lot of seniors, and a lot of that talent's moving on
That's right.
to either the next level or graduation. So it's going to be maybe a little bit of rough sledding for Hanover going forward, but there's a lot of victories and opportunities there too. They're really well coached. Yep. They're going to have some opportunities to do some damage next year.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some players coming back. I mean, quarterback's coming back, but they've got some other players coming back. They got a Bowen down there, who I think was a freshman.
They do, right?
So they've got that to look forward to. But I think they're definitely going to benefit from a more physical, difficult schedule because that like tonight, you want to win a trophy tonight.
Right.
I mean, conference championships are great. You want to win those. But you want to take that next step in the state tournament, and that was something I'm sure they wanted to do the last couple of years.
Sure.
I
mean, everyone wants to march down state. The best way to do that is play some good competition throughout the year, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing.
All right, how about a dominant performance tonight? Let's go down to 1A. The Jays were impressive tonight at home.
North Judson and impressive is a frequently combined words there because they were awfully tough today. Mascot having fun here. So there's Cole Wilcox with the return. Makes one-man miss. Tackled about 35-yard gain there. And Aldrich Harper here, taking it on the left side. Breaking it out into the corner and getting to the pylon for a touchdown. This is Jason Cato here for Culver. They're kind of strung out there and led to the sideline. And then Aldrich Harper again for another run.
Another good quarterback for Northwest Indiana.
Absolutely. That option quarterback. Another good running back here, Cheyenne Allen. That is a tough, strong run there. Whew. Beautiful catch by Ethan Binion there. Going up and catching at the high point. Oh, this is a fumble recovery. I believe that's Gabe Ellis there.
Scoop and score.
Scoop and score. Take it to the house. All right, taking it for 6. That is a play he will remember for a long time, I'm sure. This is Aldrich Harper again. On the keeper for the option. 20, 30 yards downfield. Big chunk plays like that helps your team out. And there's Harper again, keeping it. Taking it in for 6.
Look at that, wow.
He's a heck of an athlete, isn't he?
Yes. But the hole that was open for him, geez, the offensive line is just really dominant.
Another turnover there, recovered by North Judson. Didn't quite get a name for that individual there. This is Cheyenne Allen again, just dragging people here for extra yardage.
What a great career he's had.
Yes, he has. And that's a touchdown there by Josiah McDaniel. Nice underneath pass. Takes it in for 6.
Yeah, dominant performance tonight. North Judson 54-0. Remember the Jays lost in the semi-state last year. Could be on a collision course with Adams Central. So they're headed to Indy, I think, next week. Take on Park Tudor. North Judson having a tremendous season, just the one loss to 2A LaVille. So they've had a tremendous year so far.
By 1 point.
In OT.
In overtime.
Yeah,
so
right.
This is a very impressive team right here.
Yes. All right, let's check out the scoreboard. Obviously, an abbreviated slate, sectional championship week. The Pirates of Maryville, 52-8 over Hammond Central. Knox will be hosting West Lafayette next week. The Redskins nicely went on the road. Andrean, you know what? Andrean just rounding into shape.
Yep.
That's what they do.
Quietly got Scotty Ballantyne back last week. Got 2 quarterbacks now working. Got through the big game with LaVille. Lost to Lowell, which was important. I think Maryville coach Cease, he was trying to do the Andrean route. They lost to Chesterton, right?
And now look at it. Now look what they're doing.
It works for it works for Andrean. Could work for Maryville.
Sure.
We'll see.
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. We'll come back with our game of the week. Valpo and Chesterton, the Battle of Porter County again on Lakeshore Scoreboard.
Doing as much as you can, as quickly as you can, is important to me. Life is short, and the earlier we get started helping our community, the better off our community will be.
If you're a fan of the prep sports programming that you're tuning into here on Lakeshore PBS, please consider making a donation today in support of this great programming. We are counting on you.
Catch all the region's prep football action on Lakeshore PBS Sports. We kick off at 6 p.m. on 89.1 FM with Ben Kolodzinski and Wayne Svetnoff. We'll give you a look into the week's slate of games with analysis and live updates from correspondents around the region. At 10:30, switch over to Scoreboard for highlights, final scores, and a recap from the area's best games. Keep up with all the games from anywhere on your phone or tablet with live streams of the shows and up-to-the-minute scores on Facebook and YouTube.
One of the great rivalries in Northwest Indiana high school football, now in Class 5A, Valpo and Chesterton, and this was a little like the regular season game, wasn't it?
It kind of
Yeah.
was. Pretty tight,
Yeah,
low
pretty
scoring,
tight.
tight game, a lot of rushing yards. I'd tell you what, I played in a lot of these games. That's kind of how you like it. Those hard, smash mouth type games, they're kind of fun.
Yeah, Valpo got the lead, I think, in the regular season, and just kind of held on.
Right.
Defense dominated.
Yeah.
And that was a little the way it was tonight.
That's right. But Chesterton made a run.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah.
did, and they played well. They kept the score low, and that's
Yeah.
what they wanted to do.
I only think that Chesterton, though, had about 33 yards of offense in the first half.
Yeah.
So it was tremendous defensive performance in the first half, for the Vikings. And it's kind of funny to say, I mean, by Valpo standards, recent history,
Right.
under Coach Marshall, this was kind of like a down year.
Yeah, 2 losses down
And
here,
a
right?
sectional
Yeah.
championship,
Right,
2
exactly.
losses. Yeah, I mean, the
It's kinda
expectations,
crazy, yeah.
the expectations have been set maybe too high, but great night for them
Yeah.
to do that in what's probably folks are thinking is an off year.
Yeah, I mean, they have a trophy. They have an opportunity to win a regional next week. So, I mean, why not?
Against another rival.
Another rival.
Yes.
Another team they've already played.
They had some players step up. I mean, Justin Clark got better
Yes.
as the year went on.
He did.
Thomas Berta came out from nowhere, a sophomore, and really helped them.
Yeah, big crowd
Yeah, big
tonight.
crowd there. A lot of excitement in the air, I'm sure. All these with these big rivalry games. All right, we're going to start off with Chesterton holding the ball and a screen pass underneath to Ethan Troy. But snuffed out by Valpo pretty well there. I believe Chesterton intercepted the ball, though. That's Keegan Wrigley with an interception. Chesterton trying to air the ball out on time to Aiden Weaver there with a catch. Ethan Troy taking the pitch to the right side, but Valpo's defense showing up big. Catch by Bryce Thomas there. And when it's windy, you get these nice short on-time passes, and then you can move the ball. That's Parrott Lewis there with the catch. Here's Justin Clark. Valpo with their running game, kind of controlled the line of scrimmage throughout a lot of this. Got Travis Davis here. Nice stiff arm, breaking tackles. Taking a lot of time, getting a lot of those dirty yards, which is exactly what you need in a game like this, the slow scoring and a defensive struggle. And then Justin Clark runs it in for touchdown. And Thomas Berta on the counter play. Securing that ball and running tight into the pylon there. That is a nice run there for Valpo.
Nice blocking up on front of them.
Oh, and that was an interception there by Alex Rodriguez there. And Valpo going forward on 4th down. Didn't quite make it, but they ended up winning 14-7. Now, this game went down to the wire here. Chesterton had the opportunity to take the lead, or take the lead, and ended up throwing an interception with about 10 seconds to go. So.
And in fairness to Chesterton defensively, they played well tonight too. After those first couple scores, I mean Chesterton had a very solid season as well.
Absolutely. They ended up being one game below 500, but they started a little bit slow, but they really came on late.
They play a difficult schedule.
Oh, absolutely.
They're non-conference games.
I believe they played Warsaw, right? Yeah, I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the scoreboard, check all the scores in Northwest Indiana. Maryville at Valpo next Friday night for the regional championship, 52-8. Andrean is at home finally after they had the bye and traveled 2 weeks in a row. They win big tonight. Lafayette Jeff ends Crown Point's season, and Valpo hosts Maryville. New Prairie and Northwood next week. Big win for New Prairie. And Judson traveling down to Park Tudor as they continue on in the regional coming up next week. All right. surprise of the night, then you have some stuff to
Yeah, but
some airtime.
I think my surprise would be everybody's, and that is Lafayette Jeff's win over Crown Point. I was picking Crown Point to win this one.
I agree as well.
Okay. All right, I think you're
Yeah, we do. You know, it's the last show. It's the last show, and we want to thank all our cameramen. Jesus Herrera. I don't know why I'm fumbling this. On camera and graphics. Tom Duncan on camera, floor and technical director. Joe Bermudez on camera. Connor Burge, who does an excellent job on camera. He's right here, giving us signals all the time. Not that signal, Connor.
The award-winning Connor Birch.
And Alex Hernandez on camera and audio. Justin Hill, technical director and assistant director. And, of course, the man, Kevin Lund, who is our producer, our director, coordinates all of this. We couldn't put on the show without him.
I want to add that I think Alex is watching on Facebook tonight in
Yes.
Florida because he's on vacation.
Yes.
He's at Disney World.
Alex, I want you to know that my mic was not working tonight, buddy, because the battery wasn't working. So we missed you tonight. All right, we'll see you. Have a great football regional and semi-state coming up at Northwest Indiana.
Doing as much as you can, as quickly as you can, is important to me. Life is short, and the earlier we get started helping our community, the better off our community will be.